Okay, guys, so I want to talk about what God told me about homosexuality. God first talked to me beginning in 2024, sometime in the summer, probably August. I think it was in August. So sometime in the summer, near I think it was really near the end because I was just getting out of the behavioral hospital because I had major depression, not because I'm crazy or have schizophrenia or anything like that. I actually don't hear God like that. I'm not allowed to tell you guys how I hear him or how I communicate with him. Not yet. He told me eventually there will be a point where I'm capable of revealing that, but he told me not to reveal it yet. Um, but 2024 is when he started talking to me, communicating with me and telling me things. And I didn't believe him at first, and then things started happening, and some of the stuff he was telling me started coming true. Some future events, it was near future events that were coming true. He told me farther future events that were going to happen, but again, I can't prove those because they haven't come true yet. But one thing he was adamant about, was that I shouldn't be saying if, and I shouldn't be doubting. He was very angry when I doubted or if I said if. But like I said, some of the things in the near future came true. And in December the 17th, again, he chose to talk to me. And when he talked to me this time, I had a lot of questions that I asked him. One question, okay, before I get into this, one question was about homosexuality. But we talked about this twice. He talked to me on December 17th, 2024. I was going to make a video initially with that first conversation with him, but then I got unsure because it wasn't exactly clear. So I decided not to make that video because I wasn't exactly sure based on the answers that he had given me. Like it wasn't enough for me to make a video, and it left me somewhat confused. So a month ago, we talked about it again. So here I'm going to try to give you guys my understanding of things and what God actually told me about homosexuality. Okay, so most people, I'm going to tell you what I believed before all this happened. I studied the Bible. I obviously I'm not a scholar. I've studied it for 5, 6 years now. Reading the Bible, listening to different teachers, looking into it for myself on the internet, looking at the verses. There's a good amount of verses that talk about same sex, more so the act is a sin than the attraction. So I believe that based on what I looked into. No matter how I tried to look into it, again, this is from my beliefs before God talked to me. No matter how I looked at it, um, same-sex relations were a sin. No matter how I know anywhere I looked, no, even if it was a gay dude telling me, or a heterosexual guy, or pastor, priest, it doesn't matter who. I looked in a lot of different places. It always came out the same. That more than likely same-sex relations was a sin. Okay, but obviously, you get swayed by the mass. I didn't get swayed by the masses. I stuck true to what the Bible was saying, and I believed that. I wasn't crapping on anyone that was homosexual. I have homosexual friends. I just believed that 100%, and I kept it to myself for the most part because I didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings. So, like I said, December 17th, I asked them, and then a month ago we talked about it again. What God based? Okay, I'm gonna try to this stuff. I got like 3 sticky notes on my screen right now. I'm gonna try to break this all down. Again, I don't plan anything, so I just I try to go off the cuff with this, okay? With a lot of all this. Okay, okay, okay. What God told me was a little bit complicated both times. It made me confused until I talked about it with a friend, and then when I talked about it a little bit with a friend, then it gave me a little bit more clarity in what I think God was really trying to say to me, because it wasn't it wasn't 100% clear. Like it was so weird talking to him about this. Like, okay, but talking to God, it seems that homosexuality, the act of homosexuality, is a sin. It is a sin. And December 17th, the one thing that he had to say about it was his main concern is lust, right? And I thought that was weird because it didn't really answer my question. But I think what God was getting at was there's more heterosexuals, right? I think this is a fact. There's more heterosexuals on the planet than there are homosexuals. And lust is running rampant, and a lot of people are making homosexuality more of a problem than heterosexual lust, or just lust in general, is more of a problem than homosexuality being a major problem. And we focus on that more so than we do just lust in general. So God, that was one of the things. He's like his major concern is lust. That's what he said to me, and that made me confused because I was like, so is that a pass for homosexuality? Like I said again, we talked about it a month ago, and he was a lot more clear about what he was talking about. Like one thing we were talking about was marriage, and he told me he was trying to explain to me about my situations and how I'm getting married. He's talking about honoring your parents. I want to make a video, so I'm going to be a little bit big on the marriage, but I want to make a video about that. But one thing he said about the marriage is, I asked him, I was like, can homosexuals get married? He said no, they cannot get married. Why? Because marriage is reserved for a man and a woman. And again, don't throw shots at me. I'm telling you what he told me. I'm not. I've never been homophobic. I never hated anyone gay. I never beat no one up that was gay. I've hung out with gay dudes. I had roommates that were gay. I have no problem with gay people, people that are same sex attracted. I'm going to give you everything he said to me because he said a good amount more. Right? I'm going to try to break down some things with my sticky notes. But he said they are not allowed to get married. Um, um, and then we got on to like your lifestyle, right? Like, because it was like the vibe that I was picking up, because I can't remember everything he said. I don't write down nothing when we're talking. It's just I don't know why I don't. It just feels weird. Like when I'm talking to him, it's like you're talking to a person. Like you don't take, like, say you're hanging out with your friend and y'all just talking or hanging, or you hanging out with your dad. You're not sitting there just taking notes. You don't understand. You're having a conversation with someone. So it's weird. I don't take notes. I try to remember everything that we're talking about, and I try to just be cool. I don't know how else to explain it, but I'm chilling. I just be chilling with him, and I'll be talking. But like I remember one point, right? Because we're talking about this, and it seemed like he was basically saying it's a sin, but he'll forgive them for their sins, just like he forgives everyone for their sins, right? So it's not like God has a problem. God has a problem with everyone's sin, right? But He will forgive. God is extremely merciful, right? So I'm trying to, and the reason why I'm trying to say it like this is the way God was saying it was He understands the struggle. It's the best way to put it. When it comes to heterosexual sin, anybody's sin, God understands the struggle. He understands the war, and if you come to Him, He will forgive you 100%. He told me like that's the vibe I was getting. He was like, he understands. Like God understands. If you give your life to Him, He understands. That's the vibe I got. But it's still a sin. And again, homosexuals cannot get married. That's not a thing. It's reserved for heterosexual marriage, man and a woman. And I remember it got a little I got a little passionate only because he wasn't making sense, right? It was like he was giving homosexuals a pass in a way, but not because I think he's okay with sin. It's because he knows people are going to sin. And I was like, okay, so how are they going to get? I was like, how are they going to be happy, right? That's one of the questions. I was like, so how are they going to be happy? Because he wasn't allowing them to get married. They're not allowed to be technically with another man. They're not allowed, right? And he was like, basically, I'm gonna try to say this the best way. Basically, it was like, it's not my problem. He was like, that's not my problem. Like, it was weird. I remember when he said that to me, it was weird because it was like he's like he didn't to me at first it felt like he didn't care. Then I realized that's not what he's meaning when he said that. Basically, there is right and wrong, and we got to figure it out. And some of us are going to have certain desires and afflictions that are going to compel us to do certain things that are technically wrong, but they're going to feel right. And it is our job to overcome those, even though those things we desire those things or they feel extremely good or right to us. Now, I'm going to give you guys some examples. I wrote down some things. Like, perfect example is this, right? Not every heterosexual person is going to have a partner. And God actually shared to me some of the people that are in my life that will not get married. He told me who was getting married. He told me, like I said, he told me future things. He told me who's going to get married. He told me certain people's problems that that I'm around. He told me who's not going to get married, right? And then he told me those people's problems. So happiness, and the best way to look at this, right, is happiness isn't in a relationship. Happiness isn't in this romanticized, I'm going to have somebody, I'm going to have a family, I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that. It's not in any of that. It's in God. God's going to, like, when you give yourself to God, He shows you who you really are and who you're technically meant to be. God has, there's happiness with God, but sometimes we're programmed to think we need this type of life. I need this, I want this, so I'm going to go get that. And God's like, I have this set up for you, and this is going to fulfill you, but you have to come to me to understand yourself. But in more times, that's not the case. We're like, this is who I am. And most cases, a lot of homosexuals, they're like, this is who I am. I'm born this way. I have this. I'm going to do this because this makes me happy. But God's telling you that's temporary happiness. And that's a fix you're going to have to scratch the rest of your life because it's not right. And it's not going to completely fulfill you. So you have to come to me and you have to give it up. At some point, you got to give it up. And not only will you have to give it up, I'm going to help you give it up. I'm going to help you give it up if you come to me. That's how it works with God. I'll give you another story, right? Pedophilia. I'm not comparing homosexuality to pedophilia, but there's afflictions there. That's why I'm bringing them up. There's two afflictions. Same sex, some people are born with it, right? And the reason why I'm saying some people are born with it, I'll say majority of them are, but some people dabble in it because they can. And, I think any heterosexual man truly, if they attach from their spiritual man, the spirit, I think they can do anything to anyone. Prison is the perfect example. A lot of men engage in homosexual acts because they are, I guess, they're just giving up. They want what they want is the best way to put it, and they detach from their conscience. They detach from their spirit man, and they engage in these acts. A lot of graping going on in the prisons. But here, some of you are born with this affliction, and I'm not saying y'all can't be happy. Like when I was passionate about like how these people are gonna be happy, I realized that's wrong thinking. Y'all can be happy and y'all can live a good life, but it's gonna be a different life than what you have planned. Pedophilia. This guy, he was born with the attraction to kids. And there's a story I found on YouTube Shorts, but I'm not sure if the story is true. But if it is true, thank God, right? All glory to God. This guy had minor attracted. He was minor attracted, and when he was young, he tried to share that with his father. And apparently, when he shared that with his father, it didn't go well. So I'm not sure if his godfather got physical with him or whatever, but apparently it didn't go so well. This kid eventually he left his family because of it, because he couldn't share with his family how he's technically feeling. And his father didn't try to help him with it, right? He just got angry with him, and I guess, and he got messy with him, right? He didn't love him. Is the best way to put it. He wasn't loving towards his son because he had this affliction. So the guy then went on to talk about how he had this affliction and he lived his entire life without doing anything. He not basically not acting upon it, and he lived his entire life not acting upon it. And then people commended him for being great and making choices that were contrary to his nature, right? And that's what I mean. That can happen. I'm not saying it's easy. Life is not fair. That's a fact. Some of us suffer greatly through this life, and that's going to happen. And there's reasons for that. I got a lot more videos to make to help you guys understand Christianity and God a lot more. Again, like I said, God does communicate with me. Sorry, my cat's like busting in the room. Okay, so that's one. That's the pedophilia thing. Then two, if you look at my life, right? I didn't ask for this. I didn't plan this for my life. I didn't I didn't know none of this, right? But it came out. This was meant for me through God. Me finding God gave me purpose. Me finding God made me find a way to live in a way that makes me happy, right? So again, if you take matters into your own hand, you're God. You're playing God. I'm going to live life my way. And then to you, you're thinking that's good because you're getting temporary fixes. You're getting little fixes here and there, but you're not only messing your life up, you're probably messing someone else's life up. You're breaking the rules to what God had constructed, right? God put it a certain way because that was good. That was right. That's how it was supposed to be. And the devil came in and tried to twist that, and he's constantly twisting it. That's what the plan is. Let me try to read some of these notes here. Um, okay, and I remember someone asked me this question as well. When it came to heterosexual sex and homosexual sex. I remember someone was like, "How do you know that heterosexual relations are the right and homosexual relations are not?" I'm a heterosexual man, and the attraction, obviously, I have an attraction to women, but I will say this: I'm a very mental thinker. I think all the time. Like it's My mind can take over at any minute, honestly, because how I feel doesn't really matter. It's whatever I choose to think or believe. Honestly, I can go any way I want, to be honest with you. So this is my logic most of the time. The reason, one of the, besides the attraction, one of the reasons why I sleep with women, right, is because clearly those parts go together. Women have that part and men have the other part, and they go together like a puzzle piece. I always try to explain it that way. And not only do they go together like a puzzle piece, they create life. When it's a man and a man or a woman and a woman, it does not happen. We can freely force these things to happen or will these things to happen, but the reality is, it's that's all you're doing. It's not something blessed by God or God is bringing together. You are choosing to actually do this, and you can live, guess what, a decent life, a good life. But it was never part of God's plan for that to happen. You're choosing to do that and it sounds sad again because more times than not, this is our thinking. We have to have this, we have to do this. So I understand it, but the reality is, again, if you look at my life, I did not plan this for myself. When God first started talking to me about doing this and talking to you guys about this, I didn't even want to do it. I did not want to do it. Do you understand that? And then, oh, okay, another thing too. When it comes to relations, even in heterosexual relationships, sometimes you got the romanticized ones, right? They put on TV the program, you think it's all romantic and it's not. It's not always the case for every heterosexual relation. Some people get together and they don't have this lovey-dovey relationship. Sometimes it's just a partnership. And it's just very beneficial. And there's a love there that's so good, but it's just a partnership. And they have families on top of families. And it's not this lovely, over romanticized thing. Again, I'm not trying to say you gotta have some boring, dull life. I'm just saying you don't know the relationships you're gonna have or the partnerships you're gonna have in life that God are gonna give you or set you up for if you don't go to Him. You don't know what your life's gonna look like. And the same here for me. I don't know. I don't know what my life is gonna look like. I never know. One of the reasons, one of the things I struggled with when it came to God is I don't know. I can't see my future. I can't determine my future. I only know what God tells me to do. He's telling me, he's like, go do this, have faith, do this, have faith. And I'm like, bro, you're telling me to do this, but I'm not sure if this is gonna work. But he's like, do it. Just do it. Right? That's how he works. That's how he works. Just do it. Have faith in me. Trust me. I got you, basically. That's how he works. And you just do it. You do it anyway because he tells you to, without knowing the outcome. So it's the same thing there. I think y'all homosexuals let their drive them, even though we know, I think everyone knows that it's not normal. It's not a normal thing. The reality is it's not. Two men, like if y'all look at their acts and what they have to do to prep themselves to do the acts that they're gonna do, it doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense. And that's why when God was telling me about this and telling me like life's not fair and some people are going to have a harder time. It's not that you can't overcome it and it's not that you can't make the walk. More than likely most of y'all will choose not to. Will choose not to follow God and y'all do whatever you want because it's like it's hard to take that leap of faith. Most of us feel as if we have this one life, this is all I got, and I have to do this because this is what makes me feel good. God is like, I remember God was telling me something not too long ago. He was like, he was telling me about other people that have these moments with him where it's like euphoria, like when he comes over you. And he told me that I'm gonna have that moment. He said I'm gonna have this moment where it's gonna be like ecstasy, like it's gonna feel amazing because God is perfect and God is this amazing being that you don't really understand until you start searching for him. You start really going after him and putting some of the stuff that you have going on in your life on the back burner for him. Trying to see what else I got here for you. I think I've said God has his plans. Oh, and then okay, perfect. Another thing with heterosexuals. Some heterosexuals, lust, like I said before, lust is a big thing. Some of the heterosexuals won't even give up their massive amounts of love. Some have more, like sex addicts. They Not all heterosexuals are going to be all so great. Even some of their relationships aren't blessed by God or given to God. They're lusting after one another. And some sex addicts have to go get help as well and give up those lifestyles to live a really clean, good life. Again, it's heterosexuals have it. Some heterosexuals have it bad, just as bad as homosexuals. We all got it rough here. There's all things. One time, God told me, he was like, "There's something you're gonna have to give up." And then I asked him what it was, and he said, I'm not going to tell you yet. And then I start thinking about what things I might have to give up. And then he said, you're never going to figure it out. That's definitely what he said to me. And then even today, I was like, maybe I can figure it out. I'm like, I'm like thinking to myself, what problems do I have that I might have to give up? But that's how God is. God knows so much about us, and we don't know ourselves. And then we look at life and we're like, I gotta go get it, I gotta go get it, I gotta go do it, I gotta go do it. And God can do everything. God can work everything out in our favor. Relationships aren't everything. Sex is not everything. Life has so much to offer to us. God has so much to offer to us if we just give in, sacrifice our lives for him. If you want to know more about God and stuff, ask me questions and let me help you. I can help you. I honestly can help you. Like I said, God talks to me. He doesn't answer all my questions. I can't just go to him and talk to him about things. And I guess what? I won't because I don't treat God like he's a genie. I do not. I'm scared to talk to him. Not it's like he's like my father. Like I don't want to. Sometimes I feel like I'm bothering him. I don't like bothering him. Now I know I can probably go to him because every time I do go to him, he's like seems pleased. He seems pleased to talk. He seems very open to talk. But I don't want to act as if I can just walk up to him any point and just get what I want all the time. That's not how it is. Hopefully I cleared up some things. Hopefully you guys understand. Again, this is all off the cuff. Oh, and I'll say this too. Say you choose to be celibate or single your whole entire life as a homosexual, right? If you're trying to follow God, doesn't mean you can't have a family. Doesn't mean you can't live again. Like you live a great and good life. Say you and some homosexuals choose a woman, and she can be a great partner to you in a way that's different, and y'all can have a partnership that's not maybe not a sexual one, but y'all can have one because not all women sexual organs honestly work the way they were supposed to, right? That's true. Some of you can have a partnership that's just it's a good partnership, and y'all can flourish in a way that's friends. Again, all relationships aren't going to be the same, right? But you have to let God guide you through life and set you up in ways that you won't even believe. I promise you, in ways that you won't even believe. Hopefully, I covered everything. Again, I'm shooting off the cuff with this. I will update this if I need to. I will talk about this more if I need to. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And again, I fought on y'all's behalf when I was talking about this. Please don't come at my neck. I was like, yo, how are these people gonna be happy? Right? To God. But then I realized that he didn't answer that question. I mean, he did. He was like, not my problem. Right? It's y'all's problem. But you have to realize life ain't about sex. Life ain't about the relationship that we got programmed into our mind. Life is about peace and love and God is that peace. I can't wait to make more videos about God and how he actually works with you. There's so much he told me. I wish you guys understand. Be patient with me. Listen to me. I got you. I swear I got you.